The story begins in the Hive universe. Under a gloomy sky, drones and missiles tear through the clouds. A futuristic war has already begun. Inside a massive transport ship, a squad of heavily armed mercenaries sits in silence. The roar of engines fills the air, and the tension is suffocating. Under flashing alarm lights, the squad moves through the narrow corridor. Heavy boots stomp on the floor as someone whispers the mission code, Dogman. Back at the briefing, a masked commander lays out the terms. Massive payouts for success, compensation for death. Some mercenaries scoff, others eye the prize greedily. The commander preaches about proving value. A bald soldier interrupts impatiently, but his weapon is fully charged and glowing blue. They are ready to kill. The hatch opens, green light on. With a command to jump, the squad dives into the night, rapidly descending into the forest below. The operation is a go. They switch to stealth mode immediately. Figures move silently through the grass. Snipers take position while the assault team scales the walls of the seaside base. Orders come through. Targets have heartbeat monitors. Disable them immediately after the kill. The blonde sniper holds her breath and pulls the trigger target down. The point man moves fast, securing the kill before diving into the water to vanish. A spent shell casing ejects. These professionals operate like a well-oiled machine. Perimeter cleared, they deploy a bionic insect drone. The tiny spy navigates the vents into the facility, guiding the assault team as they breach the corridors. Friction sparks within the team. While the commander wants to wait out the sensors, an impatient soldier refuses to hold back and decides to force a breakthrough. Impatience leads to chaos. Soldiers slide down pipes as gunfire erupts instantly. The stealth mission has turned into a full-blown assault. Now they have to run. Cover blown, they go loud. An explosion blasts the door open, and a hail of rockets and bullets pours inside as alarms scream throughout the base. The resistance is overwhelming. The cocky mercenary panics, screaming over the gunfire, "We aren't even official members. Are we just bait for the slaughter?" The blonde soldier sneers, threatening to kill him if he doubts the commander. Amidst the hail of bullets, they bicker and kill absolute lunatics. The battle heats up. The assault team hustles civilian hostages down the corridor while loading a crucial metal case onto the transport. Objective secured. Suddenly, a cold order comes. If you can't take them, kill them. Without hesitation, the soldier inside the APC opens fire on the screaming hostages. The massacre ends, and the maniac stands on the platform, laughing hysterically. "They're all dead," he taunts into the void, challenging any remaining enemies. Thinking he spots a target, he drops a grenade. After the deafening boom, he peers down through the smoke, only to find empty space. His grin vanishes. Amidst the smoke, he repositions while sneering, "These idiots don't even know who they're fighting for, just like obedient dogs." He has no idea the real hound is nearby. Ignoring the dying man's desperate questions, Dogman delivers a cold truth: everyone dies, and confirms the data retrieval without blinking. Mission complete. The scarred mercenary holsters his weapon, his eyes hollow and void of emotion, leaving nothing but carnage behind. Flashback to where the nightmare began. A man screams in agony as black insects burst from his body, leaving Ling frozen in terror. Chaotic memories flood in. Mutated colleagues, smirking executives, and Dogman's own complex heritage all intertwining as the sun sets on the past. Back then, Ling was just a brilliant student in biochemistry, headhunted by the mysterious Wan Corporation for what seemed like the opportunity of a lifetime. Sold on a lie about solving the food crisis, Ling boards a helicopter, blindfolded, and is flown to a secluded facility deep in the mountains. Once inside, the lie crumbles. No food research here, just glass tanks filled with human-insect hybrids and people writhing in agony. As Ling stands paralyzed with fear, the blonde executive, Prince, steps forward, arrogantly telling her she should feel honored to be chosen by Xanadu. Prince starts the brainwashing, pointing at screens showing ecological collapse, claiming giant insects will rule the future and humanity is doomed. To survive, they engineered the ultimate black wasp, a species with its own hierarchy, but one humanity still struggles to control. Since the bugs are uncontrollable, they need a host. The mad scientists turn their sights on humans, planning to transform living people into vessels. Their ultimate goal is a human queen. A male subject screams as a massive insect shell bursts from his back, transforming him into a monster. Witnessing this atrocity, Ling breaks down. This isn't saving humanity, it's a one-way ticket to extinction. In the control room, the higher-ups watch Ling closely, intrigued as she correctly deduces that the key to fusion isn't just physical, but psychological. That desperate night, drenched in cold sweat, Ling makes a silent vow. She will sabotage this demonic project, no matter the cost. Cutting back to the present, a massive explosion rocks the Arctic Sea, shattering a giant iceberg into oblivion with terrifying force. Amidst the freezing Arctic winds, a red beret officer named Benjamin walks the deck alone, his every step radiating cold, military precision. Reports flood in. Dogman has slaughtered everyone at the Rebel Research Center and secured the data. Benjamin coldly responds, confirmed. It was a purge. The rebel faction Memphis tried to rise up, only to have Dogman wipe them, and their base off the map with brutal efficiency. Despite the betrayal, Benjamin's gaze remains dark and resolved. The Hive Project must proceed its Xanadu's trump card for global domination. Scene shifts to a pasture. A shepherd spots a demonic-looking sheep. Just as he strikes it, a black SUV roars in, scattering the flock and shattering the peace. The SUV stops. The shepherd, cigarette in mouth, glares at the intruders. The scene cuts to a dim shack as the strangers barge in, the air thick with sudden tension. The setting shifts to a high-tech control room. The pasture was a front. The hat-wearing man confirms data while the turbaned mercenary watches closely, weapons ready, signaling a tense alliance. Download complete. As screens show the facility in flames, the hat-wearing handler praises the mercenary's efficiency. The mercenary fires back a question: why the internal rebellion, and why hire them instead of using regular troops? The mercenary sneers, dismissing the politics with cold indifference. Meanwhile, deep underground, a massive metal container is being secretly transported, its glowing vents hinting at the dangerous cargo inside. Cut to a cold underground lab where humans are herded like cattle. A ruthless scientist orders the gas injection. The subject on the table screams in agony, his body convulsing violently as the brutal experiment begins. While the scientist watches calmly, the man in the dark room panics. Suddenly, a massive scaled tentacle wraps around his ankle. Terror strikes as he screams, helpless against the monster in the shadows. The man begs for his life, but the scientists coldly lie over the intercom, telling him to stay calm. Just as he hesitates, the tentacle yanks him into the darkness, followed by the sickening crunch of bones. The experiment fails, puzzling the scientists as the bugs devour their hosts. The camera pans over giant insect specimens before settling on a woman wired to machines, the only special subject capable of surviving this madness. Overcome with guilt, the researcher whispers an apology. As the subject is tortured by the machine, tears stream down her face, but her eyes harden with resolve. She vows to sabotage this inhuman experiment, no matter the cost. Chapter cover. A massive monster casts a shadow over everything. Dogman stands amidst roaring flames, his gaze sharp as a knife. The Hive logo and ruins below promise a bloody war between humans and insects. Alarms blare. The lab descends into chaos as staff scramble. Ezekiel, their key experiment, has been bitten by a snake. Medics rush and panic. If this sole successful specimen dies, they are all doomed. Doctors frantically work on Ezekiel, shocking his heart and injecting adrenaline. The director screams, veins popping, demanding they save the asset at all costs. But in the corner, a female doctor watches with hopeless eyes. He won't make it. It was sabotage. The female scientist reveals she increased the dosage intentionally. Tears stream down her face as she watches the monitor. She had to kill Ezekiel to stop the Hive Project from destroying humanity. The plan backfires. Instead of dying, Ezekiel mutates in a burst of light, transforming into a monster. He lunges, tearing into the researchers. Screams fill the air as the lab turns into a bloody slaughterhouse. Special ops arrive, but not to save lives. Ignoring the researchers banging desperately on the glass, the soldiers coldly lock the containment doors. Our mission is to protect Ezekiel, they declare, leaving the staff to die. Inside the glass, it's a living hell. The monster tears through the staff, blood splashing against the window. While researchers outside scream in terror, the soldiers stand guard, watching the massacre with chilling indifference. Amidst the carnage, the mad professor laughs maniacally. Watching the intelligent, speaking monster on the screen, he dances with joy. It's perfect. The experiment is a success. To him, the piles of corpses are a small price for his masterpiece. Back in the lab, researchers scramble to contain the chaos. The scene shifts to the ocean, where a helicopter lands on a warship. Commander Benjamin, in his red beret, steps out onto the deck, signaling the start of a major military operation. Bathed in the sunset light, Benjamin issues cold commands. With the lab's breakthrough, security is maximized. Trusting no one, he orders the deployment of all Hound mercenaries for Code Zero. The trap is set, and Dogman's mission is about to begin. Code Zero triggers a total lockdown. A young man with flowers rushes the gate, but before the guard can finish his warning, the world explodes into fire. Smoke clears over a desolate camp. A ruthless leader stands over terrified kids, pointing to a row of suicide vests, calling their upcoming death a small sacrifice for the cause. While the leader preaches hate, the blond boy drips with sweat and terror. Suddenly, gunfire erupts. The kids scramble to escape as the hideout turns into a blazing battlefield. The gray-haired pro moves fast, dropping the masked gunman with precise shots. Threat neutralized, he turns to find a silver-haired girl shielding terrified children in the rubble. The masked shooter turns out to be a sobbing kid, begging to die for his country. The veteran stares him down coldly. "Kid, no country is worth your life." While the boy questions his survival, the chopper arrives. The mercenaries couldn't care less about patriotism. The masked soldier just shrugs. "Let's go get paid." Chapter 5 opens with a hard cut to luxury. By the pool, the bald guy stares at his phone, eyes popping. "Holy crap! We got paid way more than we thought." The blonde swimmer erupts in joy. Dirty work pays well when you follow Dogman. With stacks of cash and guns on the table, they feel like they've hit the jackpot. They order girls and rush out to party, but their grins freeze instantly. Instead of women, a suit and 2 armed guards are waiting at the gate. The suit announces vacation is over and flashes the contract. The mercenaries are stunned. They haven't just been hired. They've been sold as assets to the military unit. Protests are useless. They've been drafted into a suicide squad. The suit dismisses the trash and walks alone onto the beach, a massive energy shockwave rippling in the distance. Further down the beach, the silver-haired leader calmly eats ice cream. Selling those men was just a filter weeding out the weak to find the elite for Xanadu. The leader's voice drops low. Xanadu is in chaos, possibly facing a coup. With the regular army compromised, the higher-ups are desperate enough to rely on mercenaries. He points to the horizon, certain that something big is in motion. Below the surface, weapons sink into the abyss, signaling that a dark storm has already begun. In a dim room of mirrors, the glasses man and the red beret plot. The gene experiments worked, but with traitors everywhere, even this transport mission reeks of danger. Fighter jets scream across the sky. The command is cold and absolute. Use fear, find the strongest mercenaries, and slaughter every last traitor. In a blood-soaked lab, a figure writhes in agony. Bones crack and flesh warps as he sheds his humanity, transforming into a grotesque, giant insect monster. Panic erupts in the control room. The monster is hunting the cameras like a ghost. Scientists freeze in terror. The thermal scans are blank. The thing has no heat signature and is nowhere to be found. Trapped in a ventilation shaft, a lone worker scrambles to escape. But there's no way out. A black claw reaches up from the shadows, dragging him screaming into the darkness. The shadow coldly asks if he remembers. The survivor freezes. That monster used to be someone he cared for. Before he can process it, a mutated claw lunges. He tries to run, but the path is blocked. He's trapped. Tentacles burrow into flesh, and his scream is cut short as he becomes Monster Chow. Meanwhile, alarms blare in the lab. The director screams at his staff, demanding to know if they've finally tracked down the rogue prototype, Ezekiel. The thermal skin spikes red, and the glasses girl breaks into a cold sweat. She realizes the bugs aren't random, they're swarming like an army. She trembles, realizing her mistake might have created a queen. Chapter 6 kicks off with chaos in the command center. The bearded doctor screams hysterically, convinced only a queen could control the swarm. Others try to calm him down, but the fear of the unknown is spreading fast. The screen shows the monster slaughtering its own kind to assert dominance. The director furiously demands to know what drugs were injected into Ezekiel. But the glasses girl sits silently, wiping every trace of critical data to cover her tracks. The secret recipe is now only in her head. Cut to the outside. Missiles tear through the sky, and a chopper roars toward the target. Inside, the gray-haired captain stares intensely at a glowing red orb in his hand. The captain starts a weird lecture about genetically modified tomatoes. He looks at the orb and drops the bomb. To create the perfect biological weapon, they spliced in moth DNA. They joke about human-insect hybrids, but the tension is real. The pilot announces arrival. The captain doesn't hesitate. He pulls on his black mask, switching instantly from chatty to lethal. Time to drop. On the ground, a masked figure curses the hackers. With a deafening boom, he blasts their drone out of the sky. In the distance, a chopper spirals down into the canyon, watched closely by someone under a red umbrella. Under the red umbrella, two blonde sisters are smugly hacking Dogman's accounts, cracking jokes. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the canyon behind them. The smile vanishes instantly from the muscle girl's face. A black chopper lands, kicking up a storm of dust. Dogman steps out, fully armed and radiating pure dominance. He walks straight toward the terrified women. He knows exactly who hacked him. Instead of killing them, Dogman recruits them. He forces the kneeling girl to join his hound squad. Terrified but seeing a chance to survive, she immediately calls him captain and thanks him for the mercy. Dogman warns them, "Screw up again and you're dead." The scene cuts instantly to chaos. Heavy machine guns blaze as the squad breaches the facility. Soldiers sprint through the fire, closing in on the control room. The facility is a bloodbath. The squad curses the idiotic scientists while trying to restore power. In the control room, the glasses girl freezes, staring at her screen. She sees something she shouldn't. It's Ezekiel. The glasses girl screams. The monster is in the corridor. The captain reacts instantly, splitting the squad into alpha and beta teams to trap the beast before it escapes. This is chilling. The monster isn't running. It's holding a tablet, watching the security cameras. A soldier peeks through the door and panics. The beast is hunting them. The door opens, and hell breaks loose. A swarm of spiked horrors pours out, screeching. The soldiers open fire desperately, but their guns seem useless against the sheer number of monsters. Buzzing from above, flying monsters drop in. 6 o'clock. A soldier yells in despair, but it's too late. The line collapses instantly, and screams fill the air. A soldier is dragged upside down into the darkness, screaming for help that isn't coming. Blood splatters. This is the true high. Don't let the bugs bite, or you're dead. Chapter 7 starts with a war zone. Snipers blow apart giant insect heads, but the swarm is endless and terrifying. Inside, the nightmare called Ezekiel is loose. Soldiers lock on, but HQ screams a suicide order. Capture him alive. Do not kill. Bullets bounce off the monster as it charges. The squad realizes the exit is sealed. They aren't hunting it. They're trapped with it. Panic sets in. The radio is dead silent. Soldiers scream for the Legion backup, but no one is coming to save them. The crew in the control room freezes. The distress signal went through HQ isn't missing. They're watching and letting them die. Amidst the chaos, Ling, the lead researcher, snaps. She orders a total data wipe if they're expendable. She's taking the secrets with her. To kill the monster, Ling does the unthinkable. She extracts her own blood to brew a toxin, biting back a scream of pure agony. Suddenly, a plea for help. Ling turns in horror to find the test subject inside the glass is Chin, her former colleague. The other scientists are cold-blooded monsters. They confirm the other subjects are dead and cut the oxygen to cover their tracks. Ling refuses to be like them. She steps up to Chin's tank. Two victims of this hell lock eyes, finding trust in the darkness. Memories flood back. The health checkups were a lie to harvest genes for monsters, and Ling remembers she was silenced for knowing too much. Ling makes a solemn vow through the glass: survive, escape, and expose the truth. Chin nods, and a desperate alliance is forged. Chapter 8 kicks off in the scorching desert. A heavy convoy tears through the sand, carrying the scarred mercenary legend Dogman. The vibe inside is heavy. The pay is obscenely high, and these veterans know the rule: big money means a suicide mission. But they aren't stupid. They notice the escort vehicle is actually tracking them. Knowing it's a trap, they drive straight into the bunker anyway. Inside, the commander is casually eating corn. Dogman greets him with a snarky crack about genetic modification. Tension is instant. Dogman strides in, his glowing mask cutting the gloom. His squad follows like reapers, ready to take over this mess. The regular soldiers glare at the mercenaries, but they have bigger problems. Their radios are dead, and HQ has gone silent. Fear turns to rage. The soldiers realize they are just lab rats too. One punches the wall, and mutated spikes burst from his fist. Tired of waiting for backup that isn't coming, the soldiers snap. They curse command, open the blast door, and prepare to go down fighting. Darkness swallows them as the door opens. A noise triggers panic. Fire. Green blood splatters, but Joe drops dead instantly, taken out by an unseen predator. Horror strikes. Mechanical bugs swarm their backs. Before they can react, the swarm attacks, leaving nothing but silence and corpses in the corridor. In a dim cell, Ling feeds a starving prisoner. The girl begs for freedom. Ling admits she can save the girl, but her own escape is impossible due to her tracker ID. Hope is cut short as a massive mechanical spider drops from the vents. Chin screams a warning, but the metal claws snatch her up instantly. The beast hauls Chin into the air like a ragdoll. Ling sprints forward, screaming her friend's name in sheer desperation as she is dragged away. A maniacal laugh echoes as Chin is shoved off the ledge. She plummets into the dark abyss, screaming in terror. Scientists panic as the emergency doors open. Ling bursts through, fleeing a tidal wave of giant monster bugs, leaving the researchers frozen in horror. Ling cowers behind machinery, paralyzed by fear. Giant insects with glowing eyes skitter nearby, their tentacles inches from discovering her. A massive serpent-like creature hangs above, hunting Ling outside. The scientists realize she's trapped, but fear outweighs their loyalty. A woman begs for help, but the lead scientist turns ice cold. "We need to seal the door," he says, shoots her down, and orders his men to tie her up. The old professor screams that they're all dead without Ling. Meanwhile, a heavily armed tactical squad gears up, receiving orders to storm the facility. Soldiers grumble about their orders. The brass only cares about Ling. The troops realize they are just disposable meat in the grinder, and resentment boils over. Mutiny erupts mid-flight. Gunfire tears through the cabin as the squad turns on their commander. The survivor declares they follow a new leader now reclaiming their honor as soldiers, not pawns. Deep underground, the squad realizes this isn't a rescue mission, it's a containment op. Suddenly, massive mech guardians stomp out from the shadows, blocking their path. It's a standoff against heavy combat drones. The machines give Dogman 30 seconds to surrender. Tension spikes as fingers tighten on triggers. Screw the countdown. Rage takes over, and the squad opens fire early. Bullets hammer the drones, sparking explosions and shattering the silence. Chaos reigns. A soldier is blasted into the air by an explosion as the APC trades heavy fire with the mechs, turning the tunnel into a burning kill zone. Amidst the inferno, Dogman's face is a mask of cold fury. Surrounded by fire and insects, the survivors brace themselves for the ultimate fight for survival. Snipers take aim as the battle rages on. The blonde commander screams, "Don't shoot!" amidst the chaos, trying to halt the slaughter, but the war machine is already in motion. Rain lashes down as soldiers surrender their weapons. The Dogman confronts the spinning mech, furiously demanding answers for this sudden betrayal. The base falls under new control. The mech executes a dissenter without hesitation, lamenting it missed the chance to meet the infamous Dogman before taking the rest prisoner. A wrecked truck is dragged to block the road. The perimeter is sealed tight under the silent, starry sky. No way in, no way out. The hidden scout breathes a sigh of relief, his decoy having worked. The white-haired officer watches the barricade, realizing the truth. This is a full-blown coup. Time to counterattack. The officer radios Hound, and the team in the vehicles prepares to mobilize immediately. Bypassing the main road, the officer sprints through the treacherous terrain, desperate to catch up with the moving convoy before it's too late. Inside the command center, fingers fly across keyboards. They hack the unmanned armored vehicles, engaging auto-drive to join the fray remotely. Field agents hack the system from the outside. A system unlocked message flashes on the screen. The defense grid is breached. Crawling through vents, the infiltrator waits. The blonde hacker inside disables the locks just in time, narrowly avoiding detection. The corridor is crawling with robot dogs. Instead of fighting, the tech expert decides to exploit a glitch and hack the machines to clear a path. Stealth breaks into violence as gunshots ring out. Despite the network being monitored, the captain orders them to stay connected and push forward through the chaos. The commander issues a strict order: secure the research data and ensure the safety of the target named Ling at all costs. Reinforcements are inbound. Alone in the dark, a soldier hears a strange scratching sound. He turns, freezing in terror as glowing green eyes emerge from the shadows. They hit a dead end immediately. A massive mechanical structure blocks the path, leaving the squad trapped and anxious about what lies ahead. The robot dogs act strangely, stumbling around blindly. The soldiers mock the defective machines, completely unaware of the true danger. The convoy stops at the Capernaum gate. The commander rallies the troops, reiterating the mission: infiltrate, rescue survivors, and seize the data without fail. Blood stains the ceiling, sending a chill through the team. The commander suspects they're walking into a slaughterhouse, lied to by their superiors. Deeper inside, the atmosphere thickens. That rustling sound isn't mechanical, it sounds like thick fabric dragging on the floor, unnerving everyone. Touching the dried blood, the soldier realizes the horror. Their own missing comrades were likely sent down here as bait. It's a trap. Tech support clears the path, hacking the surveillance. Jeeps tear through the desert night as the captain locks in. The target researchers are in the central control room. Infiltration begins. The captain splits the team to flank the objective. The grunts are confused about who the enemy is, but the captain just shrugs it off: rebels, and orders them to lock and load. A death threat broadcasts: oxygen will be cut every 10 minutes. Dogman scoffs at the bluff. If they really wanted them dead, they'd do it now. They're hiding something precious down there. Two unlucky researchers try to crack a door open for a stun grenade, but the mechanism jams wide open. Exposed to whatever is inside, panic instantly sets in. It's not a riot, it's a massive, pulsating insect hive. The director ruthlessly orders his terrified subordinates to walk straight into the nightmare. Trembling, they search for bodies likely eaten. Suddenly, a shadow looms. The blonde scientist spins around to find a woman standing there. "Ling!" he gasps. Chapter 12 kicks off with chaos. A heavy mech dog patrols until a soldier pops out, unloading his heavy weapon point blank. Boom! Instant inferno. Using the explosion as cover, the squad storms the server room and hijacks the satellite link. A taunting message pops up on the enemy commander's screen. "I am Dogman's commander." The enemy commander tries to cut a deal, telling them to back off. But it's a taunt, not a negotiation. Xanadu HQ has abandoned this place, it's a free-for-all now. A mysterious hooded figure looks down from the catwalks, dripping with arrogance. He says he's not paid enough to kill them, mocking the soldiers below as nothing but stray dogs. No time for talk. To save the squad, a soldier rappels straight down a shaft. Hound delivers bad news. All main entrances are locked down. It's the hard way or nothing. The vent is blocked by a massive body-grinding fan. The captain stares down the hacker, applying pressure. "I named you Hound for a reason, now go fetch." Subtlety is over. The captain smirks. "Leave it to me." A drone crashes in the distance, signaling the tank battalion to start their thunderous advance. Missiles inbound, fleet on standby. The mastermind, Prince, stands against the sunset. Creating a queen was hell, but he's here to claim the prize. Prince wants a puppet, not just a queen. Back in the lab, researchers find Ling collapsed. Seeing she's alive, they celebrate like they just hit the jackpot. The mad professor drops in. Confirming Ling is breathing, his eyes light up with fanaticism. He whispers to his deputy about a discovery far more valuable than human life. They stuff Ling into a tank like a lab rat, prepping to force a mutation. Suddenly, inside the glass, Ling's eyes snap open, dead white and terrified. Ling starts convulsing violently, screaming in agony, her body reacting in ways no human should. Watching from the side, Chin freezes in horror and screams her name. In a haze, Ling flashes back to a room. A mysterious voice whispers, commanding her to listen. Terror is written all over her face. The nightmare is just beginning. The infiltration hits a snag immediately. Two robotic hounds lunge from the shadows, cornering the masked operator. Unfazed, he pulls a detonator. If stealth fails, brute force will dismantle them. Moving through the pipes, he plants a tracker while bickering with his AI hound about the faulty navigation. A pool of blood stops him cold. This blast door matches none of the intel Benjamin provided. It's a setup. Taking a gamble, he swipes Benjamin's ID. To his surprise, the light turns green, and the door groans open. A bone-chilling vibration echoes from the deep tunnel. He raises his rifle, sensing something massive closing in. Nightmare confirmed. Giant mutant spiders crawl down the ceiling, a sight that makes the skin crawl. Outnumbered and cornered, he hesitates to use explosives, but silence is no longer a survival option. Screw stealth. The grenade detonates, engulfing the tunnel in fire and blasting green alien blood everywhere. Muzzle flashes light up the dark, but the swarm is endless. Mechanical legs close in, suffocating him. Shell casings fly as he goes berserk, trading fire with the monsters in this claustrophobic steel trap. Small arms fail, so he brings out the heavy artillery. One perfectly placed shot reduces the giant spider to ash. Staring at the wreckage, he realizes this wasn't just an attack, it was a trap designed to bury the truth. Scene shift. Alarms blare across the battlefield as heavy mechs exchange devastating firepower. Riding through the ruins, the masked merc seethes with rage. Benjamin set him up to die. Meanwhile, a heavily armed Spec Ops squad breaches Sector 7. The blonde leader looks ready to kill. Inside Room 16, the stench of blood hits them. Bodies are torn apart, a fresh slaughterhouse. They find a survivor in a lab coat, covered in blood, screaming incoherently in pure terror. The leader forces an answer. Trembling, the man confesses, "Subject Ezekiel, heart stopped, then she escaped." The survivor babbles about a queen, but the leader stares coldly at the fresh blood on the man's mouth. Gun raised. On the exam table, the subject convulses after a serum injection. His body rejects it violently, thirst burns his throat, hands tremble uncontrollably, and his bleeding eye bulges in terror. He begs for it to stop, but the mutation is relentless. Elsewhere, soldiers surround a mutant vomiting green bile, recoiling in disgust. Suddenly, clanging metal echoes from the deep corridor. The blonde commander spins around, screaming, "Something's coming! Stay sharp!" It's not just one direction. Monstrous screeches erupt from all sides. The commander orders the doors sealed and mines planted, but the right door jams. Trapped, they raise their guns, forced to make a desperate stand. Before they can breathe, black tentacles drop from the ceiling. A blue-eyed monster lunges, taking down a soldier in a spray of blood. The commander reacts instantly, unloading a clip into the creature's back, making it shriek in agony. The damn thing can fly! The giant insectid dives with buzzing wings. Soldiers suppress it with heavy fire while jamming the detonator. A massive explosion erupts, turning the corridor into a sea of fire and shrapnel. The explosion doesn't stop them. The ceiling breaches. The commander fires with cold precision, forced to leave a fallen comrade behind. Chaos reigns as the control system glitches. Gate 6 opens, and everyone screams to shut it immediately. The gunfire fades, replaced by the hum of machinery. Two survivors wade through sticky green slime, on edge. The brutal battle leaves them shaken, sensing that something far more sinister is behind this mess. Cut to a secret room. The black-haired researcher is sweating profusely, clamping a hand over Ling's mouth. Terrified, she trembles as she asks if Ling really intends to inject her own blood into the host. Desperate, Chen in the orange top insists they run. Ling looks at the surveillance and turrets in horror, thinking it's suicide. But Chen replies coldly, precisely because it's dangerous. It's their only chance to survive. Ling is skeptical until Chen drops the codename Adon 27. The truth comes out: Chen was a core researcher. This isn't an accident. It's a global experiment to create a god, with facilities running worldwide. The truth is skin-crawling. To create the ultimate queen bee, all subjects must devour each other like insects in a jar. Ling shudders, trying to deny it, questioning how a mere researcher could know such dark secrets. Staring at the blood-stained pods, Ling realizes she's not a person to these maniacs, just a flower to feed the monsters. Anger overrides fear, and her gaze hardens into cold determination. Chen tears open her collar, revealing a grotesque mutation scar. She laughs bitterly. She's a failed experiment too. If the new queen fails, everyone here will be purged. She refuses to die without a fight. Just as they form an alliance to escape, black boots block the doorway. The professor, flanked by armed goons, stands there with a gun, looking down at them with a mocking sneer. Run? Go ahead, keep running. The next second, Chen is pinned down, wire cutting into her skin. She screams in agony, begging for mercy. The professor ignores her, turning his cold gaze to Ling, demanding the truth about the blood fusion. The professor weighs Chen's word. Survival depends on the monster Ezekiel winning. He orders Ling take it away as a sacrifice, while the sobbing Chen is tossed into the holding cell like garbage. Meanwhile, in the vents, Ezekiel reveals its true form. Half its face is rotted away, a mechanical blue eye glowing in the dark. It stares down its prey, radiating a suffocating monstrous aura. Cut to Dogman, crammed inside a narrow ventilation shaft. Comms are dead, he can't reach Hound. Cursing under his breath, he has no choice but to crawl toward the light. His mission is simple: find Ling, get her out. If escape fails, trade her to the resistance. But looking at the heavy security below, he knows he can't pull this off without a helicopter extraction. He pries open a panel and scans the layout with his tablet. Red dots flash. The guard robo-dogs are blocking the path. He smirks. Bingo. Looks like they're hiding something good behind that door. Dogman plans to use the robot dogs as bait, but his luck runs out. He turns to face a massive, obsidian insectid towering over him. Realizing he's outmatched, he screams in pure frustration. F***, my life. Back at the base, giant insects tear at the metal walls, the screeching sound chilling the soldiers to the bone. Just as panic sets in, a glimmer of hope appears on the monitor. The mechanical reinforcements have finally arrived. Through night vision, A soldier sees his squadmate surrounded by bugs, desperately trying to breach the safe zone. Screaming, "Don't open it!" he slams the green button labeled Dogman to seal their fate and call for the ultimate weapon. The warning comes too late. With a deafening crash, a massive insectoid smashes through the blast doors. The soldiers open fire in a panic, their muzzle flashes lighting up the chaos as the creature explodes into gore. Before the dust settles, the ceiling collapses, the shockwaves sending soldiers flying like ragdolls. In the center of the wreckage, a scarred, long-haired figure rises from the smoke. Dogman has entered the fray. Elsewhere, a tactical squad moves through blood-slit corridors. The deputy captain receives grim news about the oxygen levels, unaware that a massive tentacle is slithering up from the darkness beneath them. Stepping over the mangled remains of insects, the deputy captain signals his team. Weapons raised, they watch the airlock is open, revealing a pitch-black void that promises nothing but danger. In the lab, the professor observes Ling, who is strapped to a table like a specimen. To him, she's just a living blood bag, her unique physiology the only cure for the monster Ezekiel's failing heart. Ling lies weak and drained, her blood filling the bags beside her. The professor ruthlessly orders to take as much as possible, viewing her only as a mobile blood bank to fuel his twisted creation. Under pressure, Ling reveals the terrifying truth. Ezekiel isn't just a bug, it's an evolutionary nightmare that absorbs the powers of every queen. It devours acid, armor, flight, becoming stronger with every kill. The scientist calculates the odds, but Ling drops a bombshell. This battle is a setup by Xanadu. They are orchestrating a survival of the fittest cage match to create the ultimate biological weapon. Amused by the revelation, the scientist decides Ling is still useful. He presses a remote to adjust the machinery, granting her a temporary reprieve but only as long as she holds value. Ling's mind fractures, hallucinating a writhing mass of tentacles. Her worst fear is realized. Ezekiel's true power is parasitic, and a thick red tube is already forcing its way into her body. The corridor erupts into chaos as tentacled horrors ambush the squad. The deputy captain leads the suppression fire, shredding the beasts, but in the blink of an eye, the remaining monsters vanish into the shadows. Distant explosions catch the deputy captain off guard. Is it survivors? Or Duca's missing team? Before he can decide, the darkness ahead looms heavy with silence, signaling that they are not alone. Scratching noises from the ventilation shaft freeze the squad. Weapons snap upward, fingers twitching on triggers, but the deputy captain signals for immediate silence. Something is crawling right above their heads. Making a tough call, the captain ignores the noise. The control room is too close to risk a detour. He orders the team forward, but as they breach the door, they find the room painted in fresh blood. Severed hands still in gloves and feet in boots litter the floor. The monsters eat people like shrimp, discarding the hard parts. Fighting back bile, the comms officer finally establishes a link with Duca's team. They find 3 trembling researchers cowering in the corner. The captain demands to know if they've been injected, and though they stutter a denial, the sheer terror in their eyes screams otherwise. Suddenly, a researcher convulses and vomits green bile. The captain doesn't hesitate. He screams, "Kill them! Seal the door!" instantly choosing ruthless containment over risking a full-blown infection. Panic erupts as the soldier screams to seal the doors. Dark shapes are already leaking from the vents, leaving no time to react. The team uncovers the truth. Someone injected a serum into people, luring the giant mechanical-like killer bees straight to them. While they track Ling, they don't realize a rotting hand in the shadows is holding a tablet, dead set on watching their every move. The monsters retreat in a cloud of smoke. The officer points at the screen in shock. A brief respite, but the suffocating tension remains. In the eerie lab, a mutated assistant looks disturbingly pleased, having just extracted a glowing green solution from Ling's blood. The professor is cold-blooded. To test the serum on Ezekiel, he casually shoves his complaining assistant down the stairs. Suddenly, Dogman breaches the defense, stomps down to assert dominance, and coldly demands to know who is in charge. Identity confirmed. Dogman marches to Ling on the table and orders the machines off, completely ignoring the protesting scientists. Chapter 17 ends amidst conflict and conspiracy, but this is just the beginning of a much bloodier storm. Chapter 18 opens with desperation. Pushed to the brink, the captive chooses suicide over facing Dogman's brutal interrogation. The scientist tries to fight, but gets disarmed instantly. Dogman steps on his head, sneering, "I walked through giant bees for this." The professor warns that unplugging Ling will kill her. Dogman whispers back, "If she dies, none of you leave this room alive." Cut to sunny skies. Prince's leisure is shattered by a call from Dogman. "I have Ling, the tables have turned." Prince tries to act tough, but Dogman drops his secret coordinates, instantly flipping the power dynamic. Prince snaps, smashing his club in rage, while Dogman keeps applying pressure, shattering any remaining trust. Back on the ship, Dogman takes full command. The base director screams in fury, but he's already lost control of the situation. Disobedience means death. Dogman executes the director without hesitation, leaving the assistant frozen in sheer terror. The assistant breaks down completely, staring at the body and sobbing father, her despair filling the room. Then, Ling wakes up. Tears in her eyes but determined, she touches the panel, and the sealed doors blast open on their own. The guards panic. This isn't humanly possible. The defense collapses, and everyone scrambles in terror as the facility falls. Chaos erupts in the control room as red invasion alarms flash on every screen. The whispering scientist freezes in terror, sweating profusely, while the guard screams for the door to open. Danger is right in their faces. The heavy blast doors slide open, and Ken's squad rushes through, immediately ordering it shut. He strides forward, coldly asking his men where Duca is, the air thick with suffocating tension. Looking up, everyone gasps. A massive, rotting monstrosity hangs from the ceiling, its jaw unhinged. The masked soldier stammers in fear, and even Ken looks grim, having no idea what hellish creature this is. This hive is a living hell, crawling with monsters. Scarred and fierce, Dogman stands amidst the flames. If these mercenaries want to survive, they have no choice but to follow his lead. As the soldiers crawl into position, they miss the threat above. A stone-skinned mutant watching from the glass ceiling. In its hand, it holds a smoke grenade, ready to drop. The scientist's hands shake as he aims his rifle, but the masked maniac beside him is ecstatic, claiming they are creating a creature with reason. The mutant looms above, its stare chillingly intelligent. The masked man issues a threat, and to everyone's horror, the monster actually nods. The sniper freezes in disbelief. Did it just nod? Does it actually understand us? Meanwhile, the soldiers are ruthless, dragging the researchers to the ground. The squad leader screams to get Ling out of the isolation pod, brutally beating anyone who hesitates. Ling cowers on the table, terrified. The cyborg mutant woman goes berserk, the blue device in her mouth glowing as she unleashes a deafening scream, desperate to protect her. The monster lunges, and the soldiers open fire. Bullets tear into her flesh, spraying blood, but she feels no pain, charging straight through the hail of gunfire like a killing machine. Chaos erupts in the corridor, lasers and sparks flying everywhere. Someone yells, "It won't let us take Ling," as the creature withstands an impossible amount of firepower, forcing everyone back. Amid the chaos, a woman frantically pushes her wheelchair, screaming for Ling to wake up. Behind her, a terrifying, clawed hand reaches out from the shadows. Death is catching up. Ken, the blonde-bearded soldier, unleashes a relentless barrage of gunfire. Finally, the monster can't take it anymore and crashes to the ground, dropping a glowing tablet with a heavy thud. No time to rest. A claw reaches from the ceiling. Suddenly, the blast doors are ripped open, and a swarm of tentacled horrors floods in, sending the civilians into a screaming panic. The gray-haired director, face covered in blood, screams about the breaching bugs and tries to hide in a culture tank. The soldiers aren't having it. They put a gun to his head, forcing him to open the door. The director refuses to open the door, but a massive red mechanical beetle crawls out from behind the wall, laughing maniacally. Trapped between the soldiers and the monster, there is no escape. Black spherical bots charge in, but are instantly shredded by heavy machine gun fire. The blonde commander in the control room watches the carnage without flinching, coolly remarking, "Just in time." A deafening explosion reduces the bots to scrap metal. These are Dogman's mechanical hounds, but to the soldiers, they're dismissed as nothing more than annoying strays. The battle rages on as the soldiers unleash hell on a robot dog at the end of the hall. A massive burst of green energy erupts, blasting the machine into pieces and lighting up the corridor. As the smoke clears, the floor is littered with smoking wreckage. Kin steps over the shell casings, staring at the scrap heap, and asks the masked man, "Where on earth did these robot dogs come from?" The mech dog locks down the sector, smashing the locks to trap the swarm outside. The soldier reports, "Any bugs show up, these doors seal tight." With Ling secured, it's time to get the hell out. Chaos erupts outside, but the swarm ignores them, rushing straight for Duca's squad like mad dogs. The soldier screams to seal the doors, but the mechanical monstrosities are overwhelming. The auto doors fail. Black tentacles burst through the gap just as they try to seal it. It's the monster Ken warned about. A screen cuts short, leaving only a lone glove behind. Panic crackles over the radio. These bees are human-sized. A grenade goes off, engulfing the corridor in flames and blasting everything apart in a deafening shockwave. The dust hasn't even settled, but the rabbit helmet squad stands firm. The female sniper, cold and focused, spots the target through the smoke. One pull, one kill. The monster pins her down, rotting face inches away. But hearing the target's secured signal flips a switch. Fear turns to rage as she unloads her clip into its chest core. Dogman orders the retreat. The scientists beg to be saved, but the merc simply points a gun at their heads. "Open that door after we leave, or I kill you right now." No free rides, but the researcher Chin steps up, claiming she can care for Ling. The merc agrees instantly. "Grab your case and move. Don't fall behind." Chin hands over the data case, abandoning her colleague. The man screams, "I have intel," in despair, but Dogman doesn't look back as the robot army closes in. As they rush through the corridor, Chin looks at Ling and realizes the truth about that vitamin shot. Her blood runs cold. She's already been infected. The scent of pheromones hits her. Touching the scar on her chest, Chin's eyes harden. She was a mutant once. She knows this feeling. "I must survive, no matter what." She presses her hand against the screen, fingers morphing into sharp claws. In this moment, she's no longer just human, she's a survivor turning into something else. End of chapter.